Imagine coming home after a brutal day, exhausted, already replaying tomorrow's to-do list in your head, only to find your own driveway blocked off like a crime scene. Some guy in a neon vest claiming he's the last line of defense for your whole neighborhood. Yeah, that happened, and not to some random person, but to Simone Kearns, an FBI tactical commander who'd spent her entire career neutralizing threats everywhere except her own front yard. So picture it. It's late. Simone's just left a meeting at the Sacramento field office, brain still half-wired on briefings and tomorrow's schedule: 7 a.m. run, kids' school drop-off, command meeting at noon. By the time she turns into Fairgrove Estates, one of those suburban subdivisions where every house looks like it's fresh off a builder's catalog, she's basically on autopilot. She taps her remote, gate opens, and she rolls past a line of porch lights and perfect lawns. But right when she reaches her own spot, there's this guy. Middle-aged, buzz-cut, big chest, standing dead center in her driveway, arms crossed like he owns the whole street. He's got a neon vest, sure, but what really catches Simone's eye is the gun strapped to his hip. Way too visible, and from the way he stands, it's obvious he's not law enforcement. She's seen enough bad stances to know. She keeps her cool, rolls down the window, and asks, "Can I help you?" The guy doesn't even flinch, just plants his feet wider and says, "You live here?" Like it's an accusation, not a question. Name tag says Douglas Brinton. She tells him, yes, she lives here, Unit 314, even flashes the garage remote. But Douglas just taps the grip of his gun and says, "This is private property. Residents only. You don't look familiar." That's the kind of line that sticks with you. Because Simone spent 20 years teaching agents to spot danger, and suddenly she's the one under suspicion, right outside her own front door. Curtains start twitching up and down the block, porch lights flip on, and you just know somebody's already recording. Simone's tired, but her training kicks in. Calm voice, visible hands, every move deliberate. She tries to de-escalate. "I'm coming home from work. Step aside so I can park." But Douglas? He unclips his holster, pulls the gun halfway out, metal scraping, echoing down the street, and mutters, "You're gonna need more than words." Neighbors are whispering, phones raised, and you can feel the tension crackle. One wrong move, and this whole scene turns tragic. She warns him, tells him it's illegal, tells him he's out of line. He claims he's the HOA's safety chair, which, in his mind, means he gets to play sheriff. She tries to reason with him, says her address, points to her garage. But he's not listening. Instead, he draws the gun, both hands now, barrel aimed right at her window. And that's when things get real. You know what I mean? The block goes silent except for the wind and the distant bark of a neighbor's dog. Simone keeps her cool, measured breathing, steady hands. She's been here before, just not on her own street. Her badge is right there in her purse, but flashing it too soon might only set him off. He shouts at her, "You don't belong here. People like you don't just show up in this neighborhood without us noticing." His voice is echoing that ugly suspicion people use to justify anything. A neighbor tries to intervene. Timid voice from across the street, "Doug, maybe she does live here." But he waves the gun wildly and shouts, "Stay inside, Sharon." Gun now swinging across the block. Simone lowers her voice, tries to ground him. She explains, calmly, "If you pull that trigger, your whole life changes. You're surrounded by witnesses, by cameras. The law is watching." But Douglas can't back down. Pride's got him locked in. He says, "I keep the crime out. I know what trouble looks like." She doesn't take the bait. "You think you know trouble? You're looking at an exhausted woman coming home from work and calling it danger. That's not keeping anyone safe." She opens her door, slow, deliberate, hands visible, and proves her point by opening the garage. The crowd gasps, but Douglas doesn't budge. Then, she drops her voice even lower, the kind of voice that can cut through steel. "You're holding a deadly weapon against an innocent resident. That's a felony, Douglas. You need to put the gun down." But his grip's getting shaky, pride and fear duking it out inside him. And the neighbors are murmuring, some for her, some still clinging to Douglas's self-appointed authority. Finally, she makes the call. Simone reaches for her badge, shows it to him, and every neighbor filming from a window. I'm Special Agent Simone Kearns, FBI Tactical Command. You're pointing a gun at a federal agent in front of witnesses, and you are one breath away from losing everything. For a split second, you can feel the block hold its breath. Douglas's hands tremble. He should have dropped the weapon, should have walked away. But pride's a poison. He sneers, says the badge doesn't scare him, says, "This is my neighborhood, not yours." His voice is getting louder, less certain. Then the crowd starts to shift. Someone yells, "She showed you proof. Doug, put the gun away." But he just swings the barrel back to Simone, and you see the panic flash in his eyes for the first time. And right then, sirens cut through the night. Red and blue lights flood the street. 2 squad cars skid to a stop. Cops jump out, weapons drawn, shouting for Douglas to drop the gun. Simone holds up her badge, identifies herself, tells them who the real armed suspect is. The neighbors gasp. The energy shifts hard. For the first time, Douglas realizes he's not the hero here. He's the armed man at the center of a suburban nightmare, surrounded by people he swore to protect. He hesitates, pride and panic battling it out. But the cops aren't messing around. "Drop it." Now, one shouts. The crowd's yelling, people screaming, kids crying. Finally, with a guttural sob, Douglas drops the gun. It clatters on the pavement. The cops move in, cuff him, drag him away, all while he's shouting about being set up, about protecting the neighborhood. But no one's listening anymore. Simone stands tall, steady, but her hands are shaking. One of the officers thanks her for not escalating. She gives a tired nod. "That's my job." Sometimes the job follows you home. The fallout doesn't end with the sirens. The neighborhood splits. Some still defend Douglas, saying he was just protecting them. Others are furious, wondering how they ever let a guy with a gun and no training patrol their block. At the emergency HOA meeting, the room is tense. Supporters and critics face off. Simone stands up, calm and unshaken, and tells them what safety really means. Trust, not paranoia. Judgment, not fear. Arguments break out. Some shout about rights, some about common sense. In the end, Douglas is banned from all committees. Armed patrols are outlawed, and the neighbors are left to wrestle with the question of what real protection looks like. Simone's not there for vindication. She just wants her daughter to have a home where coming back at night doesn't mean stepping into a war zone. But the story lingers. Videos go viral. Everyone's got an opinion. And Simone's daughter comes home from school, wide-eyed. "Mom, people are talking about you. They can't believe you stayed calm." Simone just smiles and tells her, "Staying calm is what kept us all alive." That's what real strength is. So, here's the real lesson for anyone listening. Safety isn't built on fear or on self-appointed heroes with weapons and wounded pride. It's built on judgment, on accountability, on the courage to de-escalate when everything's about to go sideways. And if you're ever tempted to judge someone just because they don't look familiar, remember, it might just be your neighbor coming home after a long day, hoping for nothing more than a quiet night. If you've stuck with me through this, let's talk. What do you think real safety is? Does it come from suspicion or from trust? Drop your thoughts below, share your own neighborhood stories. And if you want more stories that dig into the truth, hit subscribe, because the conversation about justice, belonging, and what we owe each other isn't over yet.